Hello everybody and welcome to my hometown, Ruvo di Puglia. The name of the city, like its origins, is very ancient and comes from the ancient Greek word rips, meaning rushing stream. This likely refers to the presence of powerful streams that once flowed through the area and contributed to the karst phenomena typical of the region. After the Roman conquest, the name changed first to Riba, then to Rubi, and eventually, with the beginning of the Middle Ages, to Ruvo. It was only with the establishment of the Kingdom of Italy that the city officially became known as Ruvo di Puglia, in order to distinguish it from Ruvo del Monte, located in Basilicata. Ruvo is a small town with 25,000 inhabitants, located in the province of Bari. Its origins go all the way back to the 6th millennium before Christ, and over the centuries it has been a city of great importance for Apulia, even being colonized by both the Greeks and the Romans. Today it's part of the Alta Murgia National Park and still holds many traces of its rich past. In this video I'll take you with me on my bike to explore all the amazing things Ruvo has to offer. Are you ready to go? Let's start from the beating heart of the city, Piazza Castello. Here we can admire the Church of the Redeemer, the remains of the ancient Melodia Castle, which gives the square its name, the small chapel of San Roque, and the majestic Cavitaia Palace, which now hosts the town hall. Look at that little street on the right. It's one of the main roads of the old town, and that's exactly where our tour will begin. Follow me. Just on the right we find a historic bakery called Cascione, in business since 1902, a true institution for the people of Ruvo. Next to it stands Palazzo Caputi, once the home of a powerful local family, now home to the municipal library. Just a few meters away and turning left, we arrive in a small square where one of the symbols of the city stands, the clock tower. Built in 1604 and restored over time, at its base there is a plaque dedicated to the Roman Emperor Jordan III, dated 239. It is believed that this plaque was part of a statue located in the Forum of Ancient Ruvo, the current Largo Annunziata, but we'll get there soon. Let's keep going with our bike tour. Next stop, Piazza Bovio. The road we're riding on isn't just any road, it's actually very important from a historical point of view. According to tradition, the famous Roman writer Horace passed along this street during one of his journeys to Brindisi. This is even confirmed by a few lines from his Iter Brundisinum, where he writes: "Then we arrived tired in Ruvo, because we had travelled a long road, made even harder by the rain." And now we've reached one of the city's key spots, Piazza Bovio. It's one of the largest squares in Ruvo, and from here you can admire the beautiful church of San Domenico, built in the second half of the 16th century. But the real highlight of the square is the monument to the fallen of the First World War, built in 1921. What immediately catches the eye is the broken column, a symbol of lives cut short, and in front of it a bronze statue of a woman representing victory. On both sides of the monument there are stone plaques engraved with the names of the 367 soldiers from Ruvo who died in the war. A solemn and powerful tribute full of meaning. Now we follow the road that curves around the square, and right in front of us stands one of the Ruvo's most iconic landmarks, Palazzo Iatta. At first sight it might just look like a refined 19th century building, but inside it holds a real treasure. It's home to the Iatta National Archaeological Museum, one of the very few museums in Italy that has preserved its original 19th century layout, just as the Iatta family designed it. Stepping inside feels like traveling back in time. You're surrounded by an incredible collection of artifacts that tell the story of centuries past. There are weapons, armor, jewelry, and terracotta vases, decorated with mythological figures and scenes from daily life, most of them discovered in the ancient necropolis of the surrounding area. But the true star of the museum is undoubtedly the Talos vase. This masterpiece from the 5th century before Christ is known worldwide. It depicts the death of the bronze giant Talos, a mythical creature who guarded the island of Crete from intruders. According to legend, the Argonauts defeated him using a clever trick. Let's get back on the road. We retrace our steps for a short stretch, then turn right toward the most important church in Ruvo, the cathedral. But first, let me tell you about a fascinating legend that's deeply rooted in the city's identity. It's said that during his missionary journeys, St. Peter passed through Ruvo. Struck by the faith and dedication of a young local man, he appointed him as the city's first bishop. His name was Cletus, and according to tradition, he later became Saint Cletus, the third pope of the Catholic Church, right after St. Peter himself. Meanwhile, we've arrived at the Church of the Carmine, where every Good Friday the moving procession of the mysteries begins. But I'll tell you more about that soon. Now, returning to the legend, it doesn't have a solid historical proof, but is still very much alive in the memory of people of Ruvo. And it's not just a nice story, there's a place here called the Grotto of St. Cletus, believed to be where he used to pray and share the gospel. Even today, that grotto is visited by locals, especially during important religious events, and it's one of the most atmospheric spots in the old town. And now, here we are finally in front of the majestic Cathedral of Ruvo. Built between the 12th and 13th centuries, it's one of the most beautiful and iconic examples of Apulian Romanesque architecture. Inside the cathedral, you'll also find the statue of San Blaise, the patron saint of Ruvo, who is carried through the city in a heartfelt procession every February the 3rd, during the city's patron saint celebration. Just a few steps ahead stands another truly unique church, the Church of Purgatory. Beneath it is the mysterious grotto of St. Cletus, once a Roman cistern, but which, according to tradition, was used by St. Cletus himself to gather the first Christian followers of Ruvo. Let's go back and turn right. After a few meters, we're in Largo Annunziata. Remember it? This used to be the Roman Forum of the city. Today, the Church of the Annunciation is still here. It was built in the 14th century. It's no longer in use, but is still an important part of Ruvo's history. Largo Nunziata marks the end of our bike tour, but Ruvo isn't just monuments and old buildings, it's tradition, culture, and real emotion. An important event in Ruvo is the Holy Week. It begins on the Saturday before Holy Week with the procession of Our Lady of Sorrows. Then, during the night between Holy Wednesday and Holy Thursday, one of the most evocative processions takes place, the procession of Eight Saints. It begins at 2 a.m. from the chapel of San Roque and returns around 10 in the morning. Good Friday is marked by the solemn procession of the mysteries, which starts from the Church of the Carmine, the one we saw earlier. Several statues depicting the stages of Christ's Passion are carried through the streets. A particularly moving moment occurs when the statue of Jesus carrying the cross is turned to face the Church of the Purgatory, where the statue of the Pietà is kept. It feels like Jesus is giving one last farewell to his mother before the crucifixion. Holy Saturday features the procession of the Pietà, whose composition strongly resembles Michelangelo's famous sculpture. Holy Week concludes on Easter Sunday with the procession of the risen Christ, symbolizing the joy of the resurrection. In Ruvo, Easter isn't just about processions, it also includes the ancient and fascinating folk tradition, the Quarantana. The straw doll, symbolizing an old woman, is hung across the streets during the whole Lenten season. Then, on Easter Sunday, as the statue of the risen Christ passes by, the Quarantana is blown up, an intense gesture that marks the end of Lent and the start of a celebration. Listen to it. Despite its history, Ruvo isn't yet a popular tourist destination. That's why I propose a small innovation to highlight our cultural heritage and engage younger generations. The idea? Augmented reality guided tours at the city's main landmarks. Imagine walking into the Yatta Museum, approaching the Talos vase, and suddenly the bronze giant comes to life in augmented reality, battling the Argonauts. You witness his dramatic fall, just as depicted on the vase, but this time you're part of the story. With this short journey through Ruvo, I wanted to show how rich our history is and how much it still offers to those who explore it. Thanks for watching.